Hey everyone, Rachel here with Givebutter again. Thanks so much for joining for another inspiring success story from within the Givebutter community. If you are in search of a creative live stream fundraising idea, you have definitely come to the right place. Today we are featuring the Wendy Hilliard Gymnastics Foundation, who recently had one of the most creative, fun, and well done live streams we have ever seen on the Givebutter platform called Flip It Forward. Wendy is joining us to share how the foundation came together to raise over $71,000 to empower the lives of young people from underserved communities through gymnastics. Wendy is also going to share what made the foundation turn to Givebutter for their fundraising efforts, as well as tips, tricks, and lessons learned along the way. Wendy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, nice to be here. So nice. Thank you.
So to start, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and a little bit more about your foundation?
So I'm Wendy Hilliard, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Wendy Hilliard Gymnastics Foundation. We've been around for almost 25 years. I competed for the United States. I was the first Black to compete for the U.S. in rhythmic gymnastics on the national team. And I was on the national team about 10 years and competed in 3 world championships and Olympic trials. And then after my competitive career, I became a coach. And one of my athletes, Alianne Backwell-Wilson, was on the 96 Olympic team. And then I started the Gymnastics Foundation actually after that, but in the middle, I did a lot of TV commentating for the sport and performance. I performed on Broadway, and I also was president of the Women's Sports Foundation. So I kind of put everything together, started my own gymnastics foundation, and we've served over 20,000 youth with free and low-cost gymnastics,
Wow.
primarily in Harlem, but we expanded to Detroit in 2016.
Very exciting stuff. I mean, everything from your personal story to how you have cultivated that to change so many lives through your foundation. So walk us through Flip It Forward. How did this campaign all get started?
Oh, that's such a good, interesting. Well, it was so hard when the pandemic hit. We had to stop all of our on-site programming. And it was, I think like everyone, it was so hard. New York was so hard hit. Detroit was hard hit too as well. So I have to say my coaches were super amazing because they turned around right away and went online to do programming for the team kids to keep them engaged. And it turned out really well, which was kind of interesting. And then after a while, we were sharing our gymnastics videos and instruction with our partners who sent it out to all of the kids that were now at home, learning school at home. They sent it out to the New York Public Schools, which serves 1.1 million kids. So we kind of found a new, interesting way to do what we were doing, our service online, and we had to do it. We did it all for free. But we did realize that we wanted to stay viable. We still had costs, and everyone kept saying, you still need to fundraise, which was kind of hard for us to think about doing when so much was going on. But I actually came up for the idea of kind of flip it forward in a way. And that was, what it was, is that they were trying to do like a Giving Tuesday thing in May. So they were encouraging a lot of nonprofits to do that one. So we kind of thought about it in that sense. But we were also supposed to have our major fundraiser in May, right? And so we knew we needed to do something for our finances, basically. So one of my board members, Brenda Levin, sent me the email, the link to the RXR Realty site, where they were going with different professionals that were offering their services pro bono, which was kind of amazing. And believe me, I didn't really think it was going to turn out to be anything, because when it's free,
Right.
you don't really trust it. But I was able to connect with 2 very important people. Dana, who connected me with with Karen and Frank of the Women to Women that really produced our show, and also to Max, Givebutter. And Max was just so, he was very helpful. And I found out that the Givebutter platform it's so interesting because it was so perfect for us, because this whole virtual event was like something new. We're like, and the one thing is that we do gymnastics, so we're used to performing, right? But when we have to put it all together and tape it, and people think on-site fundraisers are stressful. This was stressful.
Right.
This was stressful because then we wanted to do a Zoom dance party after, and I don't think people understand it's all about the technology. It's all about the technology. Even live events. A live event will almost live and die on your technology, right? So a virtual event for sure. So if you don't have a team of people that can hold your hand through it, and you have to trust them, and that Givebutter and Max and the whole team was just so open because there were a lot of moving parts. We had kids, and then I was calling on my friends and Billie Jean, can you send a message? Billie Jean King and Bart and Nadia. And it was so funny because in one way you think it's simple, but it's not. But it worked. And it was, I will say that it's all about having a team. It's all about having the trust. And it was so worth it because it's actually going to live longer than our other events, right? People can go back and they can still experience it. We've still, like every week, we still get, people donating to us, which is really wonderful. So yeah, that's what makes it work.
So it sounds like it was a combination of things. The pandemic hit, there was hardship all around,
Yes.
and pivoting and adjusting, figuring out programmatically, how do we make this work? But also on the funding side, how do we pivot that as well? And you were able to connect with the right people. And part of that, we are so fortunate that turned you to Givebutter, because we have just loved having you in the family. And I'm going to actually share my screen so people can see this beautiful Flip It Forward campaign. So we are all looking at gorgeous, 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 branded so well. You'll see that there were multiple team members that were raising, and you'll also notice basically that the foundation utilized every feature that Givebutter has to offer, and that is what we recommend. You have the team leaderboard, you have event details very clearly written out, you have your inspiring story with pictures, which makes it all that much more engaging. And expectations, which we don't always see that on live streams. And I really appreciated that you just spelled it out for people and made it easy. And also, like you said, you had a dance party, which we just adored that you did that. I know our CEO, Max, joined for this entire live stream. He could not stop watching.
Oh, wow.
And he actually made it all the way to the dance party.
Wow.
So anybody who is watching or reading this right now, you are definitely going to want to click the link and check out their campaign for some inspiring visuals and maybe get your dance moves on as you watch the video. But I am actually going to share the first minute of this video so people can see kind of how you got the ball rolling in terms of your live stream event.
The Wendy Hilliard Gymnastics Foundation proudly presents Flip It Forward. Featuring Nadia Comaneci and Bart Connor. Nia Dennis. Renee Elise Goldsberry.
So yeah, some of these people that you had mentioned that you were getting those clips from, right?
Yeah.
What I loved about your introduction was the amount of energy. You had the countdown going on and there's music, and you just know you're in for a good time when you start this live stream. And I think that's something that anybody who's looking for a little bit of guidance on how to start a live stream, I think this is a great example.
Oh,
So walk me through, I shared a little bit of your page. Tell us a little bit more about your Givebutter experience in terms of not just a live stream, but everything else, like getting the donations in, having team members, spreading the word. What was your experience like?
It was really great because on lots of levels. Part of it was I really enjoyed being able to text to give, right? Be a part of it. And what turned out really great, because it really brought my board along. They weren't used to the peer-to-peer fundraising. My board members weren't, but one of them really took it to heart, right? It depends on how they do it. But as it went along, it was totally fun because as people were watching the stream, they could see who was donating, right? And so for people to be able to give their messages and go along, it made the whole experience really fun because they could see who was donating. We had some parents donate to us. We had some, you know, it was random things that come up. People put the picture in. So that really made it feel everybody part of it. I have to say, I really like that part, that you can see how people were giving and how they were doing that. And then I would get an email, right? So you say, so-and-so gave you money, say thank you. And it's so funny because one of my board members just loved that. She was, I just love that Givebutter says, say thank you. I mean, sometimes, you know, when you run an organization, there's so many things, but that kind of connection, I think, is really interesting because you want to stay connected with your donors, and that's pretty simple. And then someone, sometimes they just email me back, well, thank you know, you can start a little conversation. So that part we really enjoyed. It's just, it was very lively, which was really nice. It was like engaging, I think would be one of the best words, that people, when they do it, they stay engaged, and that's really important when you work with donors, but also it's got to be easy. And it was really easy. The team was great to get it up and running. And so it's a very friendly platform to use as an organization.
Yes. And you made it easy to navigate as well on your end, the way that you had set it up. So happy to hear that. And not to mention, it was incredibly successful. You raised over $71,000. Can you share a little bit of your fundraising strategy, or what did you do you think that made it so successful?
You know, that's very interesting. We were going on a wing and a prayer on this one because you just didn't know. You just didn't know how people were going to react. Remember, this is like a week and a half after the George Floyd situation. There was so much racial disparity going on. The energy in the country was just crazy. So you really could not know day to day how people were going to react, and were they going to get tired of being online and things like that. What we found out is that we were giving back to our kids, right? They needed, amongst whatever was going on in the world, kids needed to be engaged, they needed to be, you know, lifted up. And so I think people related with that part. And what our strategy was is that we just sent it out to all of our donors. And it took, you know, I think Karen and Frank did a really good job of social media. You know, we had a big social media push. And we just sent out the emails, and people enjoyed it. It was so funny because it was, I'll tell you, it was taped to be live, right? Because that was their biggest decision. Let me tell you, we were going to do this live. That would have been scared. Don't do it. So we taped it to look live, which was true. Right. It took a lot of work, but let me tell you,
it looked live.
In the different parts, I saw a few things, and if it's not working at that time, you can't do anything about it, right? You just gotta say, oh well, you know. And so that's my recommendation, but that didn't come from me. That came from Max and from Karen. You know, they had the experience. And that was one of the, to be honest with you, that was the biggest game changer. Otherwise, I would have been stressed beyond. It was still stressful, but to have to go through it and wait to see if the you know, wireless would work on everybody's behalf. So that's why you want to go with, you know, Givebutter, who has this experience and can kind of take you through there. You want the organization, they've always, you know, everyone was able to, they're so responsive to what we needed to do. We had a lot of different questions, but it made it work, and and the fact that it's going to live forever is actually a big deal for us, right? We still are, like I said, we're still getting donations, but it still looks great, right? So people can still experience it even after you know, and it still looks fun, and they still feel very engaged. So yeah, it was a hard time. The outreach strategy is you just have to go to your donors and just let them experience it, and then, you know, reach out to them again.
Right.
Yeah.
And you bring up a really good point that you were going live with this live stream in a really difficult time. And I mean, no one's ever fundraised through anything like this before, right? And so you just don't know, is it going to be different than it normally would be with a live stream? And we have seen again and again at Givebutter with everyone who's fundraising in the last 4 months that people want to give now more than ever. And it can feel really scary to ask for donations right now, but people are looking for a way to give back and to have hope and to see the good that is happening right now as well in the world. And your campaign is a shining example of that. And like you said, people, wanted to see the good that was happening in these kids' lives. And also, great tip on pre-recording. Yes, we definitely recommend that. Do you have any other tips, tricks, or lessons learned for other people in the Givebutter family that are watching or reading right now?
I would say that I would move forward. Here's the thing. The biggest thing is making a decision to do it. And it took our board a long time. We were trying to figure out when to do it, da, 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 da. And so you want to deal with, the folks at Givebutter have a lot of experience, and you want to use that experience to help you make your decision. But I would tell most people to go for it, because this is something new that we're always going to have. And in a way, it was so beneficial to us, because an on-site fundraiser already had $60,000 of expenses with it, and this doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is actually more, it's probably financially more of a risk that you would take. You wouldn't lose as much, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have it. So I think it's very important that people still keep fundraising out there. And I would just say from my experience, it was a little hard, it was a little early, but I'm so glad I did it. And I'm so glad I had the support to make it successful. And to be honest with you, I think any part of it would have been successful, just getting it out there and being able to live like it does. And you can work on the strategies of fundraising, because you'll always have something there that people can go back and see.
Right. Excellent words of advice. To close, I'm curious, what do you think is the future of Flip It Forward this year in terms both programmatically and with fundraising? What's next?
Well, we're still going to use it. We actually got a shout out from one of the world's top gymnasts that she wants to, send out a little message about it.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah. So as soon as we get that, so that's what I'm saying. It's something that can live and people can see that one. And it's something that we're flipping it forward. We're going to still need support as we go forward. And I've got to give a shout out to Ingrid, who's our graphic designer, who kind of really helped us with that. I have to say, this time, which has been so difficult, on the other side brings the best people together.
Hmm.
And it helped us take this and have this great experience, and to be connected with people that are like-minded and want to move things forward. So as tough as the time has been, it's also been a time when we've had really great people come together that have been very creative, and you never know what you're going to have, but most likely, if you're in a good place and you want to do good service, it'll turn out great.
Wendy, thank you so much for joining us today. It was such a pleasure, and know that everyone in the Givebutter community is going to be cheering you all on.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. I really appreciate it.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.